Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Devin Adams. I'm a Fortinet instructor here in Tempe, Arizona for Dynamic Way Worldwide, and I record these videos for the people who take my class. And yeah, so in our last video, we were successful with connecting these branch offices to the headquarters in our hub and spoke topology. And on top of that, we also had the ability to talk to spoke. So which is all great, but there comes a problem once we get so many moving parts in our topology, and that is visibility, guys. And you have to argue that that's probably one of the biggest challenges that we face, right? Is being able to see the big picture all the time, no matter where we're at. So, Fortinet does have a solution for this to some degree. And I mean by some degree, meaning like there's still requirements and you don't get 100% visibility, but it's still a good feature, and it is also included in the support contract. So it's not like an additional license that you have to get. There's bells and whistles that you can add onto it, but that is pretty much the security fabric. And the security fabric is their solution to get more visibility throughout your network. So there is a couple of requirements though. For starters, your FortiGates do have to be licensed. All right, I found that out the hard way, at least on the older versions of the FortiOS. You can't use the free VMs for it. Another one too is that you have to have a FortiAnalyzer. So the FortiAnalyzer acts as your point of log aggregation, right? And I'm pretty sure that that allows the visibility to happen at the degree of accuracy that we see. Okay, but basically what happens is that we elect a root FortiGate, and that's going to be our headquarters here, and then we are going to point these downstream FortiGates through the VPN tunnels to this headquarters FortiGate, and essentially we should be able to see visibility throughout the entire network from our root FortiGate. So once again, though, you do have to have multiple FortiGates and also a FortiAnalyzer. All right. Um, Another word of warning is that the logging does get taken over by the security fabric. So you have to make sure that your FortiAnalyzer and your infrastructure is also geared towards having that much logging being done. So it essentially turns logging on for all sessions, but the security fabric is intelligent enough to not create dupe logs. So if something's being logged downstream, right, it's not going to duplicate that log once it hits the root FortiGate, so on and so forth. So also, if we pair this with device detection, and device detection is where at layer 2, meaning they have to be directly connected to the broadcast domain of the FortiGates, you can detect what kind of devices are plugged in there. So it's going to give us some more visibility there. Okay. Now, if you do have remote users down here, which this is coming sometime soon, the person that I promised the SSL stuff for is probably given up on me. I've taken so long. But if you do want device visibility beyond what's connected to the FortiGates layer 2, you have to use the FortiClient. That's the only agent-based device detector that I know of. And by the way, guys, I teach the NSE 4 stuff, which is essentially FortiGates, and also the NSE 5, which is FortiManager, FortiAnalyzer. I haven't delved too deeply into like the endpoint management systems or the FortiNAC or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure that if you have like the EMS, the endpoint management server, and also the FortiClient, it's going to give you way more features than what I'm going to show you here. So anyways, guys, so that's our goal for this video, is essentially to get all of our FortiGates combined together in our security fabric. All right. So we have our visibility, and this is an actual requested demo. All right, so I'm getting I'm getting one of my demos out of the way, and that is the ability to connect through these VPN tunnels. Now I'm going to try this a little bit differently because I don't want to actually do it through a specific VPN tunnel, but I want it to be able to pass through the VPN tunnels just using the SD-WAN. So that's going to be a challenge for myself. Anyways, if it doesn't work, I'll find out shortly. So, but let's go ahead and get started by going to each FortiGate and at least turning on FortiTelemetry and also turning on device detection. So, and I'll explain that as we go. So here we go. Here's my domain controller. Let's go ahead and log in. All right. Okay. So now, FortiTelemetry is pretty much the language of love between the Fortinet products. All right, it's their telemetry protocol. So we're going to go to network, we're going to go to interfaces, and anything that's pointed to another FortiGate or a possible FortiClient, we're going to turn FortiTelemetry on. So for starters, like our management port here, right? This has all of our servers in it. So I'm going to make sure that our FortiTelemetry, what the heck? That is brand new, guys. I lied. It's now called Security Fabric Connector. All right, good times. So, you guys see that there? Crazy. Anyways, I guess they changed the verbiage and then device detection. Okay, so um, there we go. Sorry that threw me off, guys. I guess they combined FortiTelemetry and CapWAP, right? And they called it the Security Fabric Connection. All right, that makes sense. So, okay, so there we are. I love that it at least warns you too if you're playing around with that interface that might be directly connected to it. So also the sales though, we want to make sure that device detection is turned on. All right. And if we did have our Forti client connected, we're going to want Forti telemetry on it. All right. Also with marketing, make sure device detection's on. All right. We'll turn on Forti telemetry in case we ever want the Forti client, and same with our DMZ because we could use Forti client to protect our endpoints even in the DMZ if we wanted to. And then device detection is turned on. All right, good times. Okay. Now, what's really important here though is going to be our SD-WAN. All right, and so our SD-WAN connections here. I don't even know if we can individually pluck these things out. Can we turn on FortiTelemetry from here? We might have to cheat. Yeah, we might have to cheat. So let me try turning on FortiTelemetry directly from the security fabric settings. Okay. So from the security fabric settings, if we go over here to settings, all right, we can go ahead and say use FortiAnalyzer for logging, and that is the correct IP address, and it looks like it is doing its thing. Okay. Now, here's the thing, guys. It's going to be up to you if you want to encrypt the log files internally. I'm actually going to turn it off, and the reason why is because they're going through a VPN tunnel anyways. So I'm not going to want to double encrypt, at least not in my lab environment. Okay, but here I'm going to turn on FortiTelemetry. All right, and you see the little plus sign down here? See how much easier that is to select FortiTelemetry? So I can turn those on our VPN tunnels. Okay. So, because that's what's going to connect the FortiGates on the other side. All right. So now the management IP address. All right. So this is going to be, I'm assuming how the FortiManager is going to report its IP address. All right. So I'm actually going to pick the internal interface instead of the WAN interface, and the reason why I'm doing that, guys, is so it can use the VPN tunnels. I don't want to use the WAN IP address. I don't want to use the publicly routable IP address. Okay. I want to represent this HQ FortiGate using this internal interface right here. And that's going to be important when we do our VPN tunnels. Okay. And then I'm just going to call this IT Ninja because that's my make-believe company. All right. So, and yes, it's serving as a root. All right. So there we go. So I'm going to hit apply here. All right. Now, a couple of things is going to happen. All right. It's now going to advertise itself as the root FortiGate. And now it's going to be listening for other FortiGates downstream of this to join. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Are you guys ready? So we'll start with New York City. All right. I'm going to log in there. Okay. And once again, I'm going to go to network. I'm going to go to my interfaces because I want that FortiTelemetry turned on, but also device detection because that's gonna show our end users machines. Oh, I did turn it on. Man, I'm such a stud and humble. All right. Anyways, there we go. All right. But interestingly enough, I'm now going to go to my security fabric. I'm going to go to my settings. All right. And I am going to turn on FortiTelemetry. All right. And we're going to join an existing. Now, this says upstream FortiGate IP address. So it found an upstream FortiGate through my my VPN tunnel. So if you guys remember, that is the IP addresses that we put on the VPN tunnel. But guess what? I don't want to use that because that binds it to just one tunnel. All right. I wanted to make a decision using the SD-WAN rules of which tunnel to do. So I'm going to change that to 10.1.1.254. Okay. And I'm also going to use my internal interface here to identify itself. So that way it doesn't bind to a single tunnel, but it'll pick whatever tunnel's up and whatever tunnel is available. All right. Also, guys, the security fabric settings do take over with the security fabric. All right. So other than that, I mean, that looks all right. We just got to make sure that these two also have FortiTelemetry because they are possible ways that it can connect. All right. So we'll hit apply. And if everything if everything works, all right, we should be able to hop back over to our main FortiGate and essentially authorize it. So let's see if that worked. All right. Okay, so I'll hit apply. Let's hit refresh here. Okay. All right. Allow other FortiGates to join. Yes. IT Ninja. All right. And it should be popping up there. I don't know why it's not. Okay, we'll give it a couple more seconds. So let's see if it found it over here. I don't know. I might I might have to use that IP address then. Um, like I said, that's one thing that I never tried to do differently was to use the internal IP addresses. So it might not like that, guys, to be honest. So hey, at least we have connection to the to the whatever you call it. So I'm gonna let that bake for a second. Okay. Hopefully that will just kick itself on here in a moment. So, all right. It usually doesn't take that long. Let's try Texas while we're waiting. Okay. Here we go. So once again, we're going to go to our security. No, that's our dashboard. Here we go. Our security fabric, we're going to go to settings. All right. Turn on FortiTelemetry. Join an existing fabric. All right. Now, once again, it found it through the VPN tunnel. Okay. So normally I would not want that. I would want it to pick a tunnel, but you know what? For just a test, I'm just going to leave it. Okay. And once again, the reason why is because you might not be able to do it. I was just trying that on the fly to see if it was possible. Because technically speaking, that's how I would want to do it. So um, let's see here. That might be something I need to research then if it didn't just automatically look at that. Yeah, man, that stinks. Okay. That should be Texas. So it looks like it does have to be bound to one of those tunnels, which kind of stinks. Ah, okay. Anyways, guys, so what's happening here is that I am using the VPN tunnel to get there. All right. So in other words, the IP address that I put on this tunnel right here is what's connecting it to the security fabric. I just don't know what's going to happen when that goes down. That's something I'm going to have to test later. I was hoping that I could identify it on the other side of the tunnel, and that way it'd be able to connect just using the VPN rules. That was an assumption that I made. I'm going to have to look more into that. All right. So, but what's nice though is that it looks like, you know, everything is still connected to that level. So, all right. So let's go back to New York City. And once again, it looks like it's struggling to find it. So we are going to turn it off. And I guess we have to use the IP address of one of our VPN tunnels, which I kind of didn't want to, but it looks like that's how you have to do it. And in class, when we do our labs, guys, that is actually how it does work. I was just hoping that we could use the internal interfaces instead. So, um, and then of course we have to go to the other side. See how it says not authorized? So it did find it. So I guess you have to use the VPN tunnels. I'm just going to have to test maybe in our upcoming video what happens if that goes down. So, and maybe it will converge. I really don't know. All right, but we're going to go ahead and authorize it. Okay. So there we go. Warning, I didn't do that. Okay, I was just trying to hit apply. This action will stop communications with the cross-out devices. What are you talking about? Okay. So we have both of them. All right. Now we're not done yet because normally, guys, we'd have to go to the FortiAnalyzer and authorize them, but they were already joined to the FortiAnalyzer. So that's why we didn't get the message there that they had to do it. But I did want to show you guys how that would work. So I'm just going to come over here real quickly and go to my FortiManager, which is acting like a FortiAnalyzer. We did that in an earlier video. All right. So here we go. Let me log into my 40 parrots or whatever those are. All right, here we go. Backup. And then if we come to our device manager, it should be able to identify the security fabric. You guys see that? It looks like a little mesh, and then we drop it down. And then the root FortiGate's the one that has the little asterisk on it. So guess what? It is working. So everything's right with the world. That's not a bad thing. Okay, so but normally you'd have to right click those devices and authorize them. We don't have to do that because they were already joined to the FortiAuthenticator. There's too many 40s. FortiAnalyzer. All right. Also, your policies, okay? If we go to our IP4 policies, you're going to notice that our logging has now been taken over by the security fabric. So I'm going to open up any one of these. And if you notice here, logging is all, and it says the security fabric is enabled. So nothing is going to be, nothing's going to be controllable when it comes to logging because it's going to be logging everything. All right. So what? What's the big deal here? What's going on? So we got the security fabric done. What's the big deal? Well, let's take a look. So if we go to security fabric now, we go to our physical topology, okay? We can actually see from our root FortiGate here our whole entire topology, guys. Look at that. I mean, we have our FortiGates, right? We also have our devices. See my sales PC, see my DC, okay? We also have our FortiGates across our VPN tunnels. All right. Come on, you have to admit, that is pretty stinking cool. Let's go to our logical topology. All right. Look at this. We have our internet connections. We have our SD-WAN. We have our tunnels. Okay. You see that these are connected to the two offices. Okay. You got to admit, guys, that is pretty darn cool. Okay, we can even right click and we can ban IP addresses. We can drill down and look at the log files of a particular device. That's what device detection does, by the way. So look, these green marks right here is the actual SD-WAN health checks and utilization on each one of the interfaces that are WAN facing. All right, So you have to admit that is pretty cool. Now, this little number right here, there's a security rating that you can do that it will audit. It will audit your entire security fabric and tell you how you score, what you've passed, what you haven't passed. Okay. And you can essentially do a one-stop shop on the health of your network. Now, this is something that they give you like a free version of to look at, uh, but you do have to purchase it to get the full functionality of it. Okay, but I'm just trying to tell you guys, even without that, you can still you can still run the audits and you can still take a look at what's going on. So, anyways, it's still pretty darn cool. All right, so also, let's go ahead and take a look at our log files. So if we go to log and reporting, okay, so these are pulling from the FortiAnalyzer itself, and it is logging everything. And look at this. We even have like who logged in. That's brand new, by the way. So I don't have any authentication being done from the FortiGates, but it was still able to detect logins. That is something that's brand new. All right. And then also you can see the domain controller, you can see the IP addresses, you can see the DNS requests. All right. Um, you got to admit, that's pretty cool, guys. And it is coming from the 40 Authenticator. Okay. So, um, also, if we come down to our users and devices and we go to our device inventory, we can take a look at all of our devices that we found online. Okay. Across our network. Come on, that's awesome. Our different Fortinet products, our FortiManager, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick at the FortiManager though. All right, let's go to our fabric topology. See how we have our FortiGates. We can actually go to this view here, go to our home screen. All right, so this is a combined version of the FortiAnalyzer FortiManager. Okay, but if we go over here to our SOC view, I mean, come on, guys, this is going to be about as cool as it gets. We can look at our VPN tunnels, see all of our site to sites. All right. We also have things like our monitors. All right. Traffic across all devices. We have our VPN, our site to site VPNs, which aren't really doing anything. Local system performance. All right. So this is for the FortiManager itself and the logging rates and everything like that. Endpoints. Well, okay. We just turned it on. See how it's the last hour. It takes a little bit to collect these, by the way, guys. Device statuses. But it is doing it across all the devices in the security fabric. And we're going to let this actually collect for a while. See how we can drill down and look at the different ones here. And we'll take a look at all the different features once it starts collecting those. I thought this would be a little bit more functional. Let's see if our VPN manager does anything. I'm simply going to have to explore more, to be honest, though. So, because usually there's a security fabric view that's in here. I'm wondering if it's because I'm in backup mode. So that's the only thing that might be different. All right. So, but you can see the FortiGate icon, you can see the DC1. And by the way, I do have videos coming up that is going to go over our different, what you call it, our different reporting options. I got a few questions that people wanted to talk about that. So, yep. See how we can go all FortiGates. This is back to the root FortiGate. And we can take a look at our devices across our whole entire security fabric. VPN location map. This thing doesn't work, by the way, because we're using fake IP addresses. So, um, I mean, come on, guys, that's cool. But the whole point here that I'm trying to show you is, do I need to go on the other FortiGates to take a look at certain things? I do not, okay? I can do everything from our single FortiGate here at headquarters. I do not need to be bouncing around to several different FortiGates. Take a look at the different routing tables, all right? You can essentially, well, I'm pretty sure you have to go to the device to do different firewall policies, but when it comes to the monitoring, when it comes to visibility, all right, it's top notch. Okay. Also, your FortiView, if you come over to FortiView, your FortiView should also do it across the security fabric also. Um, see how it says just the local FortiGate? I'm pretty sure that I could do different FortiGates here. See, if I want to take a look at Texas, if I want to take a look at New York, I don't have to be in multiple FortiGates. Okay, so now, the very last thing, I know I'm going way too long here, and I know this seemed a little bit anticlimactic, but I promise you, going forward, I'm going to encompass and I'm going to combine pointing out all the different things that the security fabric is going to bring to the table now that we have this level of visibility. So, for starters, here is the automation. All right. So, with the automation, now that we have visibility across the entire network, look at this. We can now do an if then that kind of automation. So I'm going to use this for example in the future to demo how to maybe disable a guest network if one of the primary connections go down. So we can use that guest network for corporate traffic. So we kick everyone off of like the public Wi-Fi and we start using the bandwidth. I'm going to automate that using a script using this trigger here. Little things like that that you can do with the automation stitches. Also, the FortiAnalyzer has indicator of compromise, and that's how it can go ahead and work with different services across the FortiGates to maybe do an intelligence um, investigation of possible compromised systems, which is kind of cool. It's like an analytics services that you have to purchase. Obviously, I don't have a license for it, but hopefully, guys, that was helpful. I'm going to have to do my own testing to make sure how convergence works if those tunnels go down. I was hoping that we could do it a different way, but we couldn't. Anyways, but all right, guys, it's about a half an hour, and I've been recording too long. So yay, security fabric. See how the security rating, you have to get a license for it. By the way, if you don't want that, you can just remove the widget. All right. So but you know what, guys? Honestly, though, there's really no excuse. If you have a FortiAnalyzer and you have more than one FortiGate, turn it on. Obviously your logging has to be able to handle it, but you know what? The FortiAnalyzer is a log aggregator. It should be able to handle most of your logging solutions. All right. Now, if you're using a FortiManager as a FortiAnalyzer, be cautious because you don't want to overgrow that limitation of the FortiManager acting as a logging device, which it is limited because it's supposed to be doing, well, central management. So, all right, guys, I'll end it there. But like I said, going forward, I will start pointing things out with the security fabric and all the different features. So if anything, like I said, I mean, just to be able to get this kind of topology view, in my humbled opinion, and also not having to jump around to many different places to see all the different connections is worth it in my opinion. All right. So, but you got to admit that's kind of cool. Okay. I love this logical one, by the way, that you can see all the health connectors across your SD-WAN. I mean, that's pretty slick, you have to admit. So, all right, guys, I will go ahead and I'll end it there. So, but hopefully someone found that helpful, maybe. And yeah, anyways, so all right, until next time. And next time, like I said, I will either demo converging between these two, or I might just jump right into the SSL VPN stuff because I've been way overdue recording those videos. So, but we were still able to we were still able to do the security fabric, so that was good news. All right, guys, until next time.